And then I just holler, I go to, and I hollered out of there, right? And so in my spirit, it's like saying, if you had stayed there at that moment, I don't know, you and the baby, either one could have not been safe. But it was just that thing of me, just getting the feeling, having it in my gut, and me just deciding I'm not going to go along with this, right? I'm just going to go against it. And there was a point where I realized right then that this gut feeling, this intuition was trying to save my very life.
Welcome to the Goddess-ity podcast, where women come together and have the audacity to tell their truths. Are you choosing to live out loud while honoring the divine within? Well, ladies, this is your movement. Join Akili, April, Juanita, and Linda as they dive deep into topics like self-love, spirituality, and comedic wisdom. We call those the foundations of goddess life. Tap in with the goddesses every week to be inspired, uplifted, and empowered.
Does. So for Black women, it's very important for us to be in touch with our intuition, because that is really our guidance system. I mean, to me, it's better than your eyes, it's better than your ears, it's better than all of that. Because as we know, a lot of times people might show us stuff, they might tell us stuff that's not true. But your intuition is going to tell you that your eyes are seeing one thing, but the truth is not what you're seeing. That is power. Serious power. And we as Black women, we need all the power we can get. So I want to find out, what do the other goddesses think about how, we as Black women, how should we use this intuition?
Child. She said, all the power we can get. I started thinking about that scene in Aladdin where Jafar was like, more power. Listen, I love everything Goddess Juanita just said for a number of reasons. What it really started to, get me to thinking about is how we receive it, right? You talked about all the wonderful tools that we can use to sharpen that skill. But I think it's really interesting how we hear from intuition or how we hear from spirit so that we have the things necessary to do what our intuition is asking us to do, right? I feel like, spirit communicates with you in the way that you learn. And I know Goddess April and I were talking about this before. Like, I am an auditory learner, right? I prefer audio books. You tell me something, it's highly likely I'm going to remember that, as opposed to me reading it or as opposed to me looking at it. Even if I'm reading a physical book, I have to read the words and read them out loud so that I can remember them. If I do not, I will end up 3 pages into the book and have no clue what has occurred on the 3 pages. Like, I don't even understand how I got there. Such is life. So I'm an auditory learner. So I think spirit knows that about me, or I should say higher Akili knows that about earthly Akili. Like, listen, if we don't let this girl know something audibly, she is not going to process this properly, right? So I hear from spirit. I know, when I say it's audible to Akili, right? I hear it almost like it's a voice that's a whisper, but still clear enough and loud enough for me to know, what is said. And I know that everybody is not a hearer, but that to me is one of my spiritual, intuitive gifts, if you will, or the way that I process information from the Most High.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's just my take. Goddesses.
Well, okay, so I always got a story time. Well, just going back to some of my own personal experiences of when the first time that I noticed my intuition, well, at the time that I started hearing it audibly, I didn't know what it was. So what it was, I would always get this little quiet voice that would say, your food is going to hurt you.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, and this was early stages of my life. And I've always felt that I was a decent eater. I loved a home cooked meal. I loved vegetables. I love raw vegetables. And I wasn't really a sweet eater, but I started noticing that I would hear that when I was eating certain types of food, more processed foods, things of that nature. But I just kind of brushed it aside because I'm like, well, I'm at a healthy weight, I'm very active, and I don't eat as bad, and I'm like comparing myself to what some other people eat that just, if they're just eating straight up junk food. So now fast forward many years later, and then over those years, what ended up happening is that I formed habits that now is impacting my health by these habits surrounding food. And I was like, that was my intuition telling me years ago, you
Yeah.
need to not do this
Mhm.
because this is, it didn't tell me you're going to develop a habit, but it just kept saying your food is going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Food is going to hurt you. And I was like, my goodness. So yes, I've been on that journey to kind of correct those things. And but yeah, it's just listening to ourselves. Juanita, I think you mentioned dating. So after I divorced and then I thought, decided I was ready to date, I'd be talking to this dude and just boom, something would tell me about him. And I thought that I was being judgmental.
Mhm.
And I was like, no, so I tell myself, no, you need to just give him a chance, get to know him, blah, blah, blah. And girl, within a month, it's like what my intuition told me, if it was not true, and it's not to bash anyone, because if I look at it now, it was that person had work to do on them. And if
Mhm.
they did not see what it was that they needed to work on or he needed to work on, that was going to impact
Mhm.
anything between the two of us, you know. And so it kept happening. But again, I said I thought I was being judgmental, So, I was just like, okay, help me not be judgmental. But then I had to stop. And I said, well, hold on, Linda. Every time that thought comes up in you, because immediately when I just, like, no, we can't date anymore or whatever, when I finally stopped and started looking at why did you choose to end things with him? It was like, because of X, Y, and Z. Guess what? Your intuition told you that from within the first week, whether it was the first conversation, but it was like very early on. And I
Yep.
said, okay, so this right here there's a pattern to this.
Mhm.
So therefore, that there is something to this. You need to start paying attention. And so then as I started paying attention, I still was doing the same thing. Give the person the benefit of the doubt, I said, when are you going to trust yourself?
Yep. That's what it's
When
about,
are you
right?
going to trust yourself? Because you're putting
Woo.
yourself in all this whatever, because, hey, I wanted a relationship, so it was like, okay, well, let's see how we can make this work. But it's like, okay, it's making you frustrated, him frustrated. It's like, let this go. So it got to the point where then I started, when I said, okay, I'm gonna listen to my intuition. I would just came straight out and I would ask source, okay, tell me immediately what it is about this person, you know, why are they here? And it would be laid out. And the moment I saw it, I said, okay, it's time to go, you know? So
Trust.
had I not learned to trust my intuition and listening and asking questions to source, I was continuing I personally was putting myself in that place of constant disappointment, being in those areas of low vibration. Oh, why me? Why can't I get a man? Why can't I keep a man? But it was like, no, because then that led into other things. It led into me looking within myself and the things I needed to work on for me personally. And so it was just like, there's many times I went on dating fast. It was just like, nope, don't even entertain. Don't even entertain a man asking you for your number. You can still be nice, and I would no, I'm on a dating fast. I need to really focus on myself, and not having any distractions. So just like the devices and technology, the attention from this, fine gentleman is just like, no, that's a distraction.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Goddess Limit, like you're saying, and I think that's one of the big things for Black women is because of all the trauma, because we are a lot of times put down when we show up and we use our intuition on things, people think we're being judgmental. People say we're judgmental. Or if we act out about something, people say we're angry without cause. So we have this thing, I think, instead of us using our intuition sometimes, right? Sometimes we try to take, we won't listen to it because we think, okay, maybe because of everything's going on, it's not telling. We don't even trust our intuition. We say it's something wrong with you because the world is saying that I'm too judgmental, I'm too this, I'm too that. So we try to tune it down and we stop listening to it. And I think after a while, sometimes we might not even be able to hear it because we tried to, as I was talking earlier in our meeting before we started this, and I was talking about my alter ego sister girl, when I'm always saying, sister girl, no, you can't come out right now. And I think sometimes, because it's like that thing that's telling you, I think that's even sometimes your intuition, and you think, no, I want to be more fair. I want to be, they're always saying what, the angry Black woman, the woman that always feels like somebody's out to get her. We've been labeled that. So I think because of that, we start not even listening to our own inner voice because we're trying to reverse the whole thing, not understanding that no matter what we do, no matter how we be authentic or not be authentic, there's always still going to be something wrong with us in the eyes of the world. We will never be able to please them because they have chosen not to be pleased by us anyway. So now we need to all get back to turning back on our intuition clock and following it.
Yes. Yes.
Very well said. You took the words out of my mouth. I don't need to say nothing. You hit on all of it, honey. I was sure gonna say what you said it.
Quit trying to tame us.
Okay.
Woo.
All these perceptions put on us, and we worried about fitting in and not rocking the boat.
Come on, Goddess April. Come on with it. Come on.
All the things, because we get alienated and we get blackballed and we get, all of these things. Like you said, the angry Black woman, you get that one, and this idea that we're strong, right? And that we can handle and take things. And that especially opposed to our counterparts who are allowed to be fragile and emotional.
We can't never be broken and fragile. No, not us.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody giving you nothing.
And come on, we ain't helping you. I mean, it was so funny. I was reading an article today where they were talking about how, Black women were really being abused in higher education. They were talking about how, when they're going for their PhDs and stuff, how, a lot of times they're not even included in some of the meetings. Sometimes they're not even given mentors, or if they are, the mentors are not even trying to help them. They're not helping trying to get published. Then I look down in the article, where you get to comment on stuff, and somebody writes in there, oh, but they're not saying nothing about how their attitudes are or what. And I was like, really? Or how difficult they are to work with it. I was like, see, I've been sitting there going like, okay, is that really true? Or is that you just something, to me, it's like you're just saying the stereotypes, right? you're just saying the stereotypes about Black women. You're saying that we don't get mentored, we don't get published like everybody else do because it's our attitude. Now, you know, I don't believe it. None of it.
No, because
We
you've
don't have no
classified us speaking up as attitude,
yes. Yeah.
and yeah, so this made me think of so everything that's being said, what came to mind was, for those listening, it could seem like on the surface that we're playing the victim. No, we're stating facts, because if we were playing the victim, we us goddesses wouldn't be where we're at because, we got it going on. So I remember having and this has happened several times throughout my career, but one time I was, having my performance evaluation, and I can't remember if she was my direct manager or my manager's manager, but I think she was my manager's manager. And so she did my review. And what she told me, she said, Linda, she said, I really see you as being my boss one day. I really do. But you don't, there was something she said that I don't network. And I was like, I don't network. And I'm thinking about all the things that I was doing, to show these folks what I was capable of. But what came to my mind was, like the guy that was appointed the general regional manager of our East Coast office, and y'all about to close the office down because he lost off all our clients and whatever. So you talking about like that kind of network? That was what was in my spirit to say.
I know, that's what you wanted to say.
That's what I wanted to say. But I was just so angry that all the stuff that I have done to show you guys what I'm actually capable of, and you've spoken on it.
Yeah.
But you're going to put it back on me that, okay, this is the reason why we're not going to put you here. But yet you come to me when stuff needs to be done.
There you go. Oh, they're going to come to us when stuff needs to be done because who's the doers around here? Who's the doers?
Yeah. And we restructured prior to that, we had restructured everything, and so there were like 5 other regions, and they put it all into one when we merged with another company. And as they got these 2 outside people on board, I'm training them plus managing 5 other regions. And I'm like, okay. I'm working this because I'm like, the quicker I can get you up to speed, because I'm not a gateholder of information. Because I'm like, I'm going to train you up, because then this will be off of me, and you'll have the, the knowledge and whatever. Hey, you got questions, ask me. Now, the other 2 individuals, where it was on the street, they were about to get promoted. But then when it came time to me, and I'm like, okay, well, let's look at everything that I was doing. It's like, but Linda, that was expected of you. Those were her exact words. That is what was expected of you. I said, so they only needed to manage one area. And I managed all of this and still exceeded expectations, but yet you're not going to reward me because that was what is expected of you. So yeah, that makes a person angry, frustrated, as Tupac said. He said, you show up to this hotel room, there's food inside. You've knocked on the door, they open it up, and you see the food there, and you're like, well, hey, I'm hungry. And you're like, oh, there's no food here. Then you're persistent. You go back, you knock on the door, and they open the door, and you're like, I want food. I'm hungry. There's no food in here. Then you come back and you knock on the door and you're like, hey, I'm gonna bust this door open because I'm hungry. I know that there's food back there, and you're still saying there's no food. Each time you show up, you're like, hey, you're having to be more persistent. But all of a sudden, when you become demanding, no, I want food, I want it now, and I'm taking it.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, we got attitude.
Yep. There it is. Whoop, whoop, there it is.
There's been studies even in terms of done in terms of not just Black women, but Black people, period. Like even the tones of our voice are considered to be aggressive. Like there's something about the tones of our voices that for our white counterparts come off as a threat, right?
Right.
So you can be just having a conversation, or you can be expressing yourself, or just talking, and it can be received, perceived, right? And I'm sure that it's not just tonal, but there is power in our tone, right? We have a particular tone, you know. We just most of us naturally do, right? There's just something about our voices. But not only that,
Uh-oh.
I hate when that happens. I lost my train of thought.
I was like, oh,
Okay.
I'm like, not right now. Don't do this to me.
Come with some real. I was like, okay, she's gonna come with some real,
I know.
real stuff right here.
No, going it. I was going somewhere.
It's coming back around. I feel like we're extra just as a people in every sense of the word. And it's not extra in a negative way. It's just we are what we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
The creation, the creators of life itself, we extra.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Extra passionate.
The
Why do you
same
think so
thing.
many people try to imitate us?
Yes.
Where
I
I
mean, they already know that we powerful. That's why they came all the way across the water to get us. Come on now.
I
They
know,
didn't come over there trying to get us because we wasn't powerful, we wasn't strong.
I
Right?
know. That's
They
what
came and got us because everybody else they tried to work like they tried to work. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it.
As long as what is naturally us is packaged in a way, what's the word that's palatable, I think you said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
As long as it feels safe. So as long as we're performing, or it's in a way that, right, but they're drawn to and love all of that energy, the colorfulness, the power, the creativity, the loudness, the it's something about us. And I'm not, no, it's not just something. There's so many things about us that draws, right? We're like this flame, but then they're afraid to get burnt. They got this, you know what I mean? Like a moth to a flame. Can't
get
help
your finger out of there.
I'm like, to me, it's like, yeah, it's like the genie with the lantern. You only want it to come out when you want it to come out, right? I mean, it's like, I want you out for this, but I don't want you out for this right here. Yeah.
Yeah. But the truth of the matter is that, there, as you said, April, it's like a moth drawn to that flame. They're not going to get burnt.
Oh yeah,
they think, well,
They
they think so. Well, okay. Let me get myself straight on this. As far as and I firmly believe this, that we genuinely are a very loving and giving, just that's just our way of being.
Yes.
And anytime, it's just like with me in helping them and passing on my knowledge and experience. You ask me, I'm gonna do that for you. So therefore, you're being drawn to us, drawn to that light.
Yeah.
We're here to help. However, if you're drawn to that light under devious and manipulative ways, you already know, I believe that they already know that they're preparing themselves for the lashback, and but they're going to put that out on the forefront, because maybe in our tone we sense that they're lying, and you're kind of like, if you just listen to the words, there's nothing threatening behind with the words, but the tone is, no, I'm letting you know that I know you're lying. And then that right there just flicks a switch, and she's uncooperative. She,
get labeled all kinds of stuff. Then
all kinds of stuff.
Oh, you're not easy to work with. I mean, oh my God, let's just go down the list of all the things that you're not, because I have to justify the lie. For myself, because I somehow have to make myself right with this thing that I'm doing that's not right, right?
Yeah.
See, the whole thing I understand and we all understand is every time you stand in a situation like that, the thing that makes you so angry and makes you have to try to bring the notch down is because you're standing right there in that same place with your ancestors, and your ancestors' blood is balling up in you, and you trying to figure out how not to let that come back up, because they like, how many times have we been in this same place? And even through your career, how many times you've been at this same place with this same lie all the time? I mean, I like you talking about performance evaluation. I can remember getting some where, man, everything was excellent. It would be some nitpicky something on there like, oh, you were talking on the phone. Well, if my job is to answer the phone and talk to customers, how am I not going to be on the phone talking if that's what my job? Rick, you let me go. Let me go. Just let me walk up out of here. Because you just said it ain't even no point in having no conversation when you say some stuff like that. You gonna write me up and say, well, people say you always on the phone. I talk to customers. How do I talk to them if I'm not on the phone? Oh, somebody help me. Help me.
Yes, yes, yes. This one supervisor, like when you talk about the nitpicky, I was dinged on not taking initiative. I'm like, hold on, I'm the queen of initiative taking, So
Yeah.
I said, no, I said, let's discuss this. And I said, okay, hold on. What's your definition of initiative? Because this is my definition that if I see something that needs to be done that has not been done, then I am going to then do it without having to be asked or told. And she said, no, you see something, you come to me, you ask for my permission. Yes.
Wow.
And I'm like, but I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. This is my day to day. So if I notice that, oh, this is off, this is why this report is not coming out properly, or this is why we're having this issue in this area because this wasn't coded to this, particular category. And I found that out. And it's like, okay, then I notify the powers that be that actually, make those changes and updates. To me, that's taking the initiative. And she's like, no. And then when I got to thinking about my counterparts, I said, at the level that we were, I said, I get it now. I said, now I understand why you're not getting promoted, Linda, because they won't do nothing unless she says, okay, yeah, you can do it. And I'm like, I am not an entry-level employee, and neither are they. And at the level that we're operating, I said, okay.
Control.
Yeah. Yeah. It was control because I believe my intuition was she wanted to be the one to show others that, oh, I am the one who said this and gave the okay.
Yeah, there you go. She wanted to take the credit.
I don't want Linda to get any recognition
there you go
for having the foresight to dig a little deeper and find out what's really going on,
Pearl.
Yeah, she wanted to be able to take all the credit because you want to take the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clutch all my pearls. I can't believe that they would do something like that.
Yeah.
Dr. Paul.
Oh, and one more thing about a meeting. We had a meeting with my job. It was so interesting because it was one of the others that was in the meeting. But we're in the meeting. They actually had stepped up and really did something really good for the team, right? Really, really good for the team. And so when we're in the meeting, we were talking and people said, oh, this is better. And, last week to this week, this is really improved. And I said, excuse me for a minute. I said, I just want to give a shout out to this particular young lady of the other persuasion. I said, because she really stepped up and she really made sure that these things got changed and they got done. And that's the reason, because it was a whole bunch of men in the room. That's the reason why this is looking better. It wasn't abracadabra, people. It wasn't abracadabra. Okay. She stepped up and she did all this work and da. And they were like, oh, okay, well, congratulations, so-and-so. Thank you so much. And then after that, she pinged me on Teams and said, Juanita, thank you so much for giving me credit for that and da. I just really appreciate it. I said, hey, you deserve it. I don't have no problem with giving people credit. I said, but I want the men sitting up in the room to act like something just went right all of a sudden. Like, oh, everything is better this week. Excuse me, it didn't just get better, boo. They are like abracadabra, everything works.
There's action had to be taken behind that.
Work.
Yeah.
She didn't do all this work to make sure all this stuff. Y'all finna give us some kudos. I'm gonna make sure you finna give us some. Because I'm gonna make sure. And they was like, okay, well, thank you so much. I was like, yeah. I was like, they was acting like, oh, it just worked out. Men.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so goddesses, we've been talking about this for a minute. So goddess April, you want to lead us into some practical tips?
Sure. I feel like we naturally have touched on them, a lot of them already, just through our conversation, because it's hard not to. It's hard not to talk about these ways in which we tune in and can, get more acclimated or comfortable in this place of trusting ourselves and our intuition. But, it is something that has to be nurtured, right?
Yeah.
It is something that you have to put time and energy into in order to truly be able to trust it. Goddess Linda touched on that when she was talking about the dating situation and noticing the pattern and seeing it and still not trusting it, right? Like it's she was getting the feedback and still not trusting it, right? So we've talked about meditation. Journaling, I believe, came up as well. And we talked about meditation as a way to quiet your mind, as a way to be able to hear your own thoughts, as a way to connect with yourself. And journaling is also another, it can be a meditative practice, actually. But journaling also provides a way, in the same way that I feel like with Linda's situation, she was getting this feedback. Journaling is there for you as feedback that you've documented. You can refer back and actually, see what these patterns are. You can see, and track and get to know yourself that way. But another thing that I would like to bring up is this tool that probably has become more popular within the last couple of years. Tarot cards, oracle cards. They're known as divination tools, which just means connecting with the divine, being able to communicate with the divine, the universe, right? Your higher self, source, God, whatever you want to call it, all of that. A way to receive messages, right? So it's really still an intuitive process, because I know, and I know that other people have done this too, you can use these cards, right? You can ask whatever question that you want. You can shuffle those bad boys. You do all the rituals, all the things, you clean them, you send energy to them. You can use crystals and incense and all of the things. You will get answers to the questions. You will interpret it. You may even feel some feels as you're receiving the answers to your question. And then you'll keep on drawing cards because you don't trust what you're receiving. Or you'll come back the next day and ask the exact same question. Like all week, you're still trying to see if you're going to get a different answer. You're refusing to accept what you're receiving. You know what I mean? Oh, child. It happens. It happens. And so I think one thing to note is, and I don't know if I've ever said this before when we have been actually recording, is understanding that, these things are tools, and that you are the thing, right? It's really you. So that is communicating, that is receiving. It is a middleman, so to speak, right? It is something to help you focus your attention. It's something that you will unconsciously, because you're like we've been saying, you're always receiving messages, right? Are you listening? So the cards help you to focus, it helps you to listen, it helps you to receive, right? So there's imagery on certain cards, there's words on certain cards. And so these are messages that you're probably already receiving anyway. It's something that you probably have a gut feeling or intuitively know. And you just want confirmation. You 99.9% already know the answer, right? And you just want to be sure, right? That what you're receiving or what you already know is the right thing to do. You're afraid to move forward. You're afraid to act on it. You're afraid to trust that what you already in your gut, in your body, in your mind, in your heart, it's probably in all of those places, depending on how long this has been going on with you, whatever it is. You still have resistance, right? You still don't want to accept it. You still don't want to follow through. So, and it could be different reasons why, right? So you want something else outside of you to give you the answer. That's why we go to other people. That's why we listen to videos, all the things. Usually we're led to the thing that is affirming and confirming, because everything is telling you. Your higher self, source, your inner witch, everything is trying to tell you the same thing. And you keep going outside of you. But the reality is, it's you guiding you to those things, to those people, to those answers. It's still all you at the end of the day. It's still all you. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I'll stop talking and I'll give you ladies, I'm hoping, some space and time, if you feel, to, share any other practices or tools that we haven't already talked about, because I feel like we talked about a lot. If anybody has.
Yeah, I wanted to share, I just wanted to share, I guess, more of a story about
Yes.
my intuition. And this happened when I was pregnant with my first child, Jada, who is 23 now. But I was working in the office. I think probably at that time I may have been about 6 or 7 months pregnant. And when you're pregnant, you always got to go to the restroom, especially when you're drinking water. And so I was working on something and I didn't want to go to the restroom yet. So I was holding. And I said, okay, when I go downstairs to the cafeteria, I'm going to get something. I'm going to just go to the restroom then. But I was going to go before. But then, of course, I didn't think about it. I got all the way down to the cafeteria. And so when you go down the stairs to the cafeteria is like to the left. And then down this hallway, you have to go through some doors and some restrooms and stuff like that. I never really have went to the restroom that way before, because I never really considered it being safe, because you go through these double doors and they close and nobody can really see you, and you're like in a basement kind of area. So anyway, I go all the way down, and of course this time I hadn't used the restroom. So I was like, I'm gonna use the restroom. And as soon as I said, okay, I'm gonna go this way and use the restroom, something within me said, no, Anita, don't go to the restroom there, because it's not safe. I mean, I know, I heard it, but I was like, I go to the restroom, I'm going anyway. So on my way to go to the restroom down this hallway, before I go through the double doors, there's a guy on the phone, right? And I go through these doors, and of course I get this feeling. As soon as I go through the doors, I get this feeling like, and still telling me, Juanita, don't go down the hallway. I mean, I'm just battling with this feeling all the way down, battling. I go to the restroom, I got my clothes down, sitting on the toilet, and I mean, something says, if you don't get out of here right now. And so I just say, okay, I'm done, I'm leaving, because I'm tired of having this battle, right? And so as soon as I put my clothes on, I'm going out the door, I run straight into this guy, right? And then I just holler, I holler out of there, right? And so in my spirit, it's like saying, if you had stayed there at that moment, I don't know, you and the baby, either one could have not been safe. But it was just that thing of me, just getting the feeling, having it in my gut, and me just deciding I'm not going to go along with this, right? I'm just going to go against it. And there was a point where I realized right then that this gut feeling, this intuition was trying to save my very life. And I was trying to deny it. And so since that occurrence happened, I have been like, oh, when my intuition says something, I'm like, okay, I'm not arguing, I'm not questioning it, I'm not reasoning it, I'm going with it. Because that right there it was very like a shift and turn in my whole thinking about intuition. I was like, this thing is real. I'm not playing with it no more.
Yeah. I love that.
Yes, good, good, good. So as I'm listening to you, April, and you were talking about the oracle cards, journaling, and how that could be a form of meditation, and it just got me to really thinking. I'm thinking about when I'm I'm tapping into my intuition, and it's putting us in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what's key to being able to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, okay, I get it. I get it. Because I used to be an avid journaler. And so it's something that I still do, but not to the extent that I was doing. And it's something that I want to pick up and start doing again, because there is still a lot of clutter, because I want to absorb all this information that's out there, and you said that it's our intuition, it's us that's guiding us to these videos, these podcasts, and I kid you, I'd be like, is my phone listening to me? Although I believe that there is a
Always,
truth
yeah.
to that. However, there have been times when no, your phone was not even in your presence. And what you said, you did not verbalize. You had a thought. And I opened it up and I'm like, and I scrolled past it and I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Go back to that. Because you just spoke it within your spirit on this, that this is what you wanted help with.
Mm-hmm.
This is the universe providing what you asked for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay. And then I'm trying to devour all of it. And as you said, April, it's like, I got my message. I said, well, then why didn't you stop? Now I'm starting looking at something else. And now that's all out. I said, you need to stop and learn to, just really embrace that, sit with it, meditate on it. So that's a habit I'm working to break. So I am breaking. I'm not. I am breaking it. I am affirming that. I'm affirming that. Yes. Universe, help me. Thank
Wow.
Wow.
Listen, intuition is everything. I mean, intention is everything as well.
you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Akili. I'm sorry, Goddess.
Oh, you are so good. You are so good. Well, I just think about the fact that I have 76 questions. So that means for me, I sometimes have to use divination tools that I feel like are going to provide me with 76 answers. Now, April is so right. Goddess April is on point. She's like, you know what? You already know what's going on, but you just feel like you need some different answers because you don't want to go with that. So just like Goddess Linda talked about, and even Goddess Juanita, your thoughts emit energy.
Mm-hmm.
I need y'all to understand. If you don't understand anything else, your thoughts emit an energy, right? And so there is a knowing that comes with a yes. There is a knowing that comes with a no. And your body will transmute that so that you understand that signal that you're getting. Case in point, you guys remember in KCL where we used to have to do the little exercise with the hanger and the you know what it is.
Mhm.
It was a hanger inside of something, and then the something was pointing and doing its
The
own thing.
straw,
Right.
the hanger in the straw.
Yeah.
Hanger and the straw, yes. And I was using like a glass straw and a hanger, and I was doing too much when I just had a pendulum right here to do. I understand why the exercise was set up that way so that everybody can see, this is how your energy works, and not use a tool like a pendulum for those people who might think that that's too woo-woo.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I love a fresh pendulum out here. I am like the biggest fan of a pendulum because the energy just speaks.
Yeah.
Right? If I ask a closed-ended question, which people how to sell things for a living, we use closed-ended questions to confirm information. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm simply looking for a yes or no answer, right? The pendulum is on point. I love that tool. But I say all that to just bring up the fact that, again, you guys need to understand that your thoughts emit energy. It's nothing that's coming from some crazy source where there's like some kind of oogity boogity creature running past, tapping your pendulum and then running out of the room. Understand, people, that your thoughts have energy, whether it is a yes thought or a no thought. Everything is energy. So when, again, we start talking about using these divination tools in the communication with the divine is energy. The creator is energy. It is just functioning at a different frequency. So when you need to gain insight and understanding, don't be afraid to utilize those tools. It's nothing coming from some kind of crazy dark space. You don't have to go there with all of your thoughts and your views. You are emitting energy. You are emitting what the truth actually is. The divination tool is just another way for your body to know it. And like I said, I love a fresh pendulum now. I'm a big fan. It is like, it's going to give me the yes, it's going to give me the no. I don't know. We need some more information. It'll tell me that too. Like, girl, I don't have enough for this. Stop playing.
I love that. I love that. And let me just say really quick too, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It is in our nature to question. And if you, that's why these tools exist. There's absolutely nothing wrong. I use them. Okay. I love interacting with things. I love being able to, I love the colors and the powerful messages and even the pendulums, and I have an amethyst one, right? I like these little tools. I love them. And there's nothing wrong with getting confirmation, with wanting that, right? Or needing that in order to feel however you need to feel in order to move forward in whatever way. So I just hope that it didn't sound like I was shaming anyone. Like, child, you already know, you just keep on asking. Listen, if
No, we
that's
all
what
do
you
that.
need to do.
No, we do.
Yeah, I know I do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
so
asking.
thank you for calling me out on
Yeah.
that.
I think there's a balance, right? I mean, there's absolutely nothing wrong. But I do want to encourage us, because that's what this all is about, is that when you do get the answer, what's keeping you from trusting that answer?
Right.
You don't want it.
Now that's most of the time, that's the
All that
reason.
is.
You don't want that. That's why you keep asking. It's like, I don't
Like
like that.
this answer. What if I ask the question a different way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-mm.
Yes,
Mm-mm.
You want a
yes,
different
absolutely.
response than what you're
yeah,
getting.
because you don't know what to do with the information that you've just gotten in a lot of spaces, or like I said, it wasn't what you were prepared to take action on next.
Yeah.
If it tells you, yep, nope, you're not where you're supposed to be, then you're like,
Yeah.
I don't have a plan out. Let me ask that question.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
you think that what's required of you to get there is too hard,
Yeah.
simply because it's new, it's different. Mm-mm.
Yeah. When you don't want to
absolutely.
do it. And everybody, most people that know my friends, I have a saying that I always say, everybody's like, we don't want to hear that. I say with my kids, everything. Sometimes I tell them it's time to put, when it's a woman, I always say it's time to put your big drawers on and do what
Uh-huh.
you gotta do.
Girl, put your big panties down, big girl panties down.
It's very
Uh-huh.
true.
I'm gonna
But
ask.
then that means there's some other questions that need to be asked.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's possible, right?
yes.
Now you can ask for those, you can ask those questions that are going to help you figure out what's next.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you
yeah.
can.
So true.
That's the
Mhm.
journey.
Sometimes we're asking those surface level questions,
Mhm.
so we can get a basic answer. But
Mhm.
hey, go
And
there.
you can be very specific. I think
Yes.
Juanita said, like, it didn't matter. Like, she knew when she got the sign, she knew that that was the sign. But there's nothing
Mm-hmm.
wrong with being very specific and asking for a specific sign. Maybe there's something that's very meaningful to you.
Yep.
And people are afraid to do that because they think that they're not gonna get, like, that's too much. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing is too much.
Oh, me.
Mm-mm.
Like, I'm asking to see a purple and yellow butterfly. Like, that's never gonna happen. And you're so scared you're not gonna receive the answer. But child, when I tell you, it will happen. You have to know and understand. It may not be one that's flying by, but it may be one at the bottom of the screen when you scrolling past. And you
Right.
know what I mean? In a book,
Mm.
on the bus, on the side of a bus.
Yep.
You will be surprised. Somebody might have a clip in their hair. That's a
Yep.
Yep.
new. I mean,
Yep.
you're gonna get it. You're gonna
Yep.
get the answer. You can
They
get very
open.
specific.
Yep.
Yep.
They open to receive.
That's right.
Yes,
Yes. Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, my goddesses, if you guys don't have anything else to add, we're going to go ahead and wrap this session of our podcast up. And I just want you all to remember that intuition, it is a personal journey. And as you can see through all of our own experiences that we shared with you all, yeah. And as Juanita said, the different directions, getting to a destination, but you're coming from the north, south, east, or west, but you're arriving at the same destination, but somebody had to take a left, whereas someone had to take a right, and someone else had to just keep straight. Don't compare your intuition, your journey to someone else's, because along that journey, it's not just about the destination, it is what is going to transpire along that journey, and be open to what you will encounter. So keep exploring, keep learning, keep listening to your inner voice, because it's going to guide you in where you need to be. And so I hope that you could see how listening to your intuition, your gut, it can be different word defined as different words, to help guide you and create, that this is a form of self-care. You have to put yourself first, honor yourself first, take care of yourself first. Listen to your intuition, because all of this stuff that we're sharing with you, it's like math. It builds on each other. You start out in the kindergarten, you're learning just your numbers, how to identify them, how to say them. What does a one look like? Because at the next level, you're going to learn how to put those together to get something else. So this is what everything that we're presenting to you, that's what it's going to provide for you, to help build you in reaching into that, tapping into your inner divinity. So until next time, I want you to keep your vibrations high, your heart open, press that like button, subscribe, and share our podcast with others. So peace, love, and blessings to you all.
Ashe.